Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to this public meeting. The date is Wednesday, August the 30th. The time is 6 p.m. I'd like to welcome everyone here. And just to let everyone know that this meeting is recorded and live streamed, so you're on camera, just like the rest of us. Because there's so many people here, I'm just going to go around the room and introduce the ones that, well, I'll introduce council, and then perhaps I'll call out your names and see who you are. Our CAO, Jeff Baker. Our municipal clerk, Kim Casely. I'm Rowan Casely, which you may know. Our deputy mayor is Jeff Spencer, Councillor Tyler Doucette, Councillor Bonnie McCrae, Councillor Rodney Mann, Councillor Ivan Glant, and Councillor Wade Toombs. And we have in attendance Marie Gallant. Where's Marie? Marie's right there, right? Dale Wall, right there. Sandra Painter. Florence Burrows.
No, McPhail.
Pardon me?
McPhail.
McPhail. Okay, well there. Good thing we said it.
Yeah.
Heidi Mountain. Over there. Kathy McQuaid. Kim Andrews. It's Andrew, isn't it?
Andrew.
Right. Floyd and Florence Service right there, and I got you. David Doucette is over here. And Dean Shaw.
Right here.
All right, I think we got everybody introduced. So welcome, everyone. And just to let you know that the purpose of the meeting tonight is to allow residents and other interested persons an opportunity to make representation concerning the following two proposed amendments to the Town of Kensington's official plan and zoning and subdivision control development bylaw. Just before I go on a little further, if you want to speak on anything at any time tonight when the floor is open, I would ask you to kind of go to either one of the mics and introduce yourself, so because this will be all recorded and then we have a full record of it. So we have two live mics there that you're gonna go to. So the first one is to rezone a portion of PID number 79749, being the lands owned by the Royal Canadian Legion located along School Street, from recreation and open space 01 to multi-unit residential R3 for the purpose of constructing a multi-unit residential development. The second is to rezone PID number 685545, being the lands owned by Robert Steele, located at the corner of School Street and Sunset Drive, from single-family residential R1 to low-density residential R2 for the purpose of constructing a duplex on the property. That is the purpose of the meeting tonight, and the part of the things that we need to do officially is the proposed bylaw amendment regarding PID number 79749, the Legion property, is the one we're talking about, was initially considered by Town Council at their June the 12th, 2023 regular meeting of Town Council, where councillors authorized staff to proceed with investigating the merits of the application in consultation with DV8 Consulting, and if deemed in general compliance with the town's development control bylaw and official plan, to move the proposed amendment forward to a public meeting to solicit comments and feedback from the community, which is what we're here for tonight. The second proposed bylaw amendment regarding PID number 685545 at the corner of School Street and Sunset Drive was initially considered by Town Council at their July the 10th, 2023 regular meeting of Town Council, where councillors authorized staff to move the proposed amendment forward to a public meeting to solicit comments and feedback from the community. Notification ads for both applications were placed in the Journal Pioneer newspaper on Wednesday, August the 16th, 2023, in accordance with the PEI Planning Act and the town's development control bylaw. In addition to the newspaper ad, notification letters were delivered to all property owners within 500 feet of the subject property, as required by the town's development control bylaw. A copy of the notification letter and a location map of the subject properties are available this evening for public viewing, and Mr. Baker has them up here on the desk if anybody wishes to see them. And following this public meeting, staff will complete a report for Town Council prior to the formal consideration of the amendments, which at this stage is planned for September the 11th, 2023. That is what we are here for tonight. That is the purpose of it. And now I would open the floor to the public for any comments, questions, or feedback. Folks, the floor is yours.
Hi, Kathy McQuaid. I live on 35 School Street, across the street from the Legion and proposed development, so that's the one that I'm asking questions about.
Okay.
Has there been any consideration for the additional traffic that's going to be traveling on School Street? Has there been any kind of an infrastructure study on the traffic on School Street as it exists now?
Mr. Baker? There's nothing additional to what already exists.
Okay, so I'd like to express a concern for the traffic that uses School Street today. I've been on School Street for 20 years, and the traffic is substantially greater today than it ever has been. There's a lot of speeding. I don't think that it was intended to handle the amount of traffic that currently travels on School Street. And to think that we're going to add, I think it's 24 new parking spots for the proposed development. All that traffic is going to come in, plus any visitors or whatever that those people are going to have. Plus, I didn't realize that we had another at the top of School Street where we're looking at a duplex. I'm not for or against these. My concern is the traffic on School Street. I don't think it's very safe as it is now. I mean, I had somebody speeding on the street, somebody that I knew, and I thought I'd have, a friendly neighborly conversation and suggest that maybe, they might be traveling too fast, and was suggested that I could move if I didn't like how they drove.
Okay.
So I'm just saying that I have a real concern with that. That's one concern that I have. And the other one that I have is, will there be restrictive covenants on that property? And by that I mean, once the buildings are erected and the apartments are erected, will they be allowed to run businesses out of those, out of their buildings, like a hairdressing shop or so I just want to know, are they considering restrictive covenants for the new property zone? Do you know if that's anything that's been considered?
I'll ask the question. Is that your
my question.
Final question, though? Or do you have another question or comment? Before I get to the answer on that,
Well, yes, I have another question.
Okay,
Sorry.
you might as well, in case there's the same person may be able to answer.
Okay. So, does the community of Kensington have a municipal plan that includes a quality of life for the residents, particularly in this area, and environmental values? Now, the reason I ask that question is because it has been green space and park space for as long as I've lived there, and now it looks like we're removing that, and there's not a lot of examples of that kind of space in the town of Kensington right now. But maybe there is a plan to create it somewhere else, and I'm not aware of it. So those are my questions.
All right, thank you. Kathy, I will ask David Doucette, who is here from the Legion, if he could perhaps, do you have any plans for restrictive covenants or anything from what's
Yeah,
taken?
these will be
Do
seniors
you want,
and veterans
do you want to go to the mic, David, please?
My name's David Doucette, I'm the president of the Legion. These will be seniors and veterans apartments. The only business that will be there, we're considering putting Provincial Command's office downstairs. That's the only business. There will be no businesses run out of it.
So are you telling me that there'll be a covenant that says that? Like you'll be creating, like when people move in, they'll sign a restrictive covenant that assures that they won't be starting up a business
Yeah,
now?
well, if we have to do that, we will. It'll end up the same as the co-op that's up there now.
Yeah, the co-op that's up there now was built, a number of years ago, and what applies there wouldn't
Well,
necessarily apply
It'll
today.
apply the same thing, because the Legion built that one and handed it over them to run as a co-op, and that's our intention with this, to build it and hand it over to the occupants to run it as a co-op.
So you can't guarantee that there'll be restrictive covenants then?
It'd be guaranteed, because when, like you say, it'll be, you sign when you move in, that there will be never a business in there.
Oh,
other
so
than-
that'll be part of their
Yeah,
rental
other
agreement?
than
Okay,
Provincial Command.
okay. And so
Yeah.
Provincial Command is going to set up an office there, so there's additional traffic. So my concern again is the traffic that's going to be added to School Street, which I don't believe, when it was paved and set up to be a road in a small little subdivision area of Kensington, is now handling traffic from Malpeque East because people aren't using Main Street so much because it's so busy. The traffic, I think there should be a counter or something done on the traffic that's there now before we talk about adding more. That's all I have to
All
say,
right, all right, thank you.
especially in the summer.
I will comment that the town does have a strategic plan that we put in place about 4 years ago, 3 to 4 years ago. And quality of life and active transportation and everything, those are all things that were considered as part of our strategic plan. It's a 15-year plan, wasn't it? Initially 5 years with up to 15 years, and it's up for review to take a look at how we've been doing over the past little while, and to see if there's anything else that we want to do. There are some park spaces around town. That is, I take your point that is one area that's been recreation and open space, and it's been that way for, I guess, since the Legion owned it. Thank you. Any other comments?
Your Worship, Councilors, Dean Shaw, 37 School Street, next door neighbor to Kathy McQuaid. There's a lack of detail in the overall plan, which Jeff Baker was kind enough to provide me the other day, in terms of measurements and that sort of thing. So I'm at a kind of a loss as to the size of these particular units. I'm just looking for general information, but I do want to address the President of the Legion with regard to perhaps an undertaking if this is approved, and I'm not against it in any way, shape, or form. As a veteran, I have an appreciation of what your needs are. But I would like to have some sort of an undertaking at some stage, Your Worship, that there will be some sort of hedgerow provided on the street side, and also, if I may use this as an example, on the west side of the driveway. Because the thing is, if you've got 24 parking spots, okay, and there's 14 units altogether, including the Provincial Command office, you're going to see something that might resemble a used car lot. And I would hope that the Legion takes this into consideration, if and when approved, that they would provide some assurance to the residents that there will be some sort of let's say, a lovely hedge. You can see all kinds of them around Kensington that would at least partially disguise exactly what's there. Nothing more than a large parking lot and a lot of cars. Okay?
Can I just ask for clarity?
Yes.
Was it along this side as you're talking about the hedge?
Sorry, may I?
Yes. So this is, where are you suggesting?
Side,
Oh, here, on this side here, okay, between
Next to the-
between
towards
the
the
senior, okay,
seniors,
between the co-op and the new development, okay, gotcha. Everybody else kind of understand that that's what he's asking, if a
Yeah.
hedge could be between this is the current co-op up there, and this is where the new one, so he's wondering about a hedgerow along there. So that's something that I would guess I don't know whether David has any comments on that, or is that something that might be considered? I don't. Yeah. All right.
If I may
Yes.
go beyond
Yeah.
that,
Good.
I would hope that it's more than just considered, okay? If need be, I'll go and help you plant trees, all right? But the thing is, it's just to make the property much more acceptable aesthetically,
Yeah.
you know? And, one other point, I apologize, one point. I've done a lot of riding around Kensington and Somerset, and I've seen new subdivisions develop.
Yeah.
And for some ungodly reason, there has a tendency to erect these power poles. I'll give you a little history, very short history. I built a cottage in North Granville 35 years ago, and something came to me and said, put the cable underground. So perhaps the Legion, when they start to, if approved, they could rip up the soil and put in a cable underground as opposed to a telephone pole, which, I can't describe how ugly they are, but it's
I think we all know.
pretty well. So I'd like to see, in preparation when this is approved, if approved, that there would be an obligation by the Royal Canadian Legion Branch Number 9 that they will arrange to have that done, because it's a lot cheaper to do it at the beginning than it is at the end. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Any other questions, comments, considerations, feedback? Yes, go ahead.
Heidi Mountain. I live on 11 Centennial. So I guess my big question is, for the Legion property, where's the driveway going to be for the parking lot? Is it going to be off School Street, or is it going to be off Walker?
Be off School, I believe was the plan.
Okay.
Yes, off
And-
School Street, right.
And how many units are going to be in this new apartment? Just curious.
Mr. Doucette?
13? 13?
13 units plus the Royal Command Office,
Okay.
which I understand right now is in Charlottetown, and they're going to be moving the command office from Charlottetown to
For
here.
sure the office is going to be moved, but we're hoping that if we get it, that we could move it here.
They're
Okay.
building to, in the anticipation that the Royal Command Office will move from Charlottetown to here.
Okay.
That's what their understanding is.
Oh, I'm not against the development of either, just to let you know. Just had like that question, because I'm out walking my dog and stuff all the time, so I'm just wondering about, traffic control and stuff.
The development plan that has been presented, which is still in draft form, of course, is 11 two-bedroom units and 2 one-bedroom units plus an office space.
Okay.
Is that correct, David?
So are any of the units going to be like accessible, like handicap accessible?
Mr. Doucette?
I would guess.
Yes. The
No,
answer is yes.
Just that we know people that are always looking to move into town and.
Yeah. Well, and I think the plan is for them, if I'm not mistaken, the plan is for them to be heavily veterans
Well.
and seniors,
Yeah.
which would, to me, would indicate accessibility would be one of the strong considerations, I would think. Is that correct, David? Yes. Okay, thank you.
Kathy McQuaid again.
Hi, Kathy.
So just a question on the units. So are they two-story units? Like, I see that they're two-bedroom and one-bedroom.
No.
So is everything on the main floor, like
Yes.
one floor?
Yes, yes.
So they're not going to be double level?
No,
Just.
no, no.
Oh, thank you. And I don't know if I said it or not. I'm not against any of the, my only concern is the traffic, okay?
That's what we're here for, to see what everybody's feelings is. Thank you,
Sandra Painter.
Sandra Painter, right.
I live at the top of Hillside Drive.
Okay.
My concern again is the traffic. A few years ago, I didn't notice as many children in the neighborhood, but in the last few years, we've had new people move in and more children are surfacing. And the speed. Yes, they are coming off the main drag and using the back of our areas without any due care or caution. It's 40 kilometers but they're well doing past that. My concern is someone is going to get injured, or there will be an accident. I don't know, perhaps set up a camera certain points of the day, especially around first thing in the morning, and probably after working hours. And
So as
see
people
if-
going to work and people coming home from work is the time that you notice it the most, is that what you're saying?
It's traffic generally. It's not just people coming home from work. It's just for them to get past the congestion of the main route through Kensington and using the back roads.
Yeah.
It's
Gotcha.
people in general. It has increased. So that's my concern.
All right, thank you. That was Hillside Drive, you said?
It is.
Yeah, okay, thanks.
I'd just
and
like to
David.
say one thing on the traffic part of it. None of these towns or cities in the province, when they were made 100 years ago, the narrow roads go to Charlottetown, University Drive, none of them were made for the traffic that we're getting today. And it's only going to get worse no matter what you do. I mean, the town is growing, and I'm afraid the roads were never made wide enough, and now there's not enough room to make them wide.
Thank you, David. Any other comments or questions or feedback, or guests?
I'll make one comment.
Yes.
Additional. A couple of years ago, Victoria Street West was repaved.
Correct.
All the traffic was detoured up School Street, and then all of a sudden, a lot of people in the Malpeque region and Darnley, et cetera, discovered that they could avoid the traffic lights at the intersection and come up School Street. So we've received a dramatic increase in traffic over the past couple of years. And perhaps the answer might be speed bumps. Get Louis Sutherland out there with a shotgun and blow some tires out. I don't know what the answer would be, but speed bumps might be one answer. But speed is a problem in, not always, occasionally.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, I will be taking this up with the chief and letting him know, because regardless of what happens with this proposal, we'll bring that to his attention, the traffic and the speed on School Street and obviously Sunset Drive, I guess, anyway. So I'll be bringing that to the chief's attention to monitor more closely. I know it's a struggle trying to monitor all the streets if you could monitor them all at the same time, you'd be great, but unfortunately that's not possible. Yes, Kathy.
So on another topic that I brought up, I talked about the green space that we're removing from the town, and you did mention that there is a long-term plan where there are some planned. Is that something that you have in the works, of replacing this green space with somewhere else in the town?
Not specifically, no. What I mentioned was that we, in our strategic plan, one of the things we did look at was the recreation, active transportation, and the amount of parkland we do have. We have a fair amount of parkland, but it's not all.
Do we have
in the same-
parkland in, like, open
Well, right-
parkland in the town of Kensington?
Well, Centennial Park is right close to where you are. It's pretty near. It's on Pleasant Street, right behind the pool.
Oh, okay,
That's-
yes.
There's
no, that-
parkland right there, and we don't have
So
any.
is there plans maybe to develop it into a playground park area, like,
We have been doing a lot. As you probably noticed in the past, the problem, if we had enough money, we'd do everything, but that's not possible. We all know the reality of that. One of the things that we did provide in the past couple of years, in negotiating, working with the province, we were able to upgrade and fix up the tennis courts at the school, and put some new nets up and some windbreaks up to help people, to enable people to play tennis, to play pickleball. And of course, what that did is then it created an ideal situation for the skateboarders. So that became a bit of a problem. So we redid the old rink surface down at the Credit Union Center, and converted that into a skateboard park, and it's also for ball hockey in the summertime, and it's also for, if we have enough cold weather, we have outdoor ice surface in the wintertime as well. And that at one time used to be used for parking, now it's not used for parking anymore. We have expanded the parking area for vehicles at the Credit Union Center, which some of you may have noticed. We put a lot of renovations into there, and we hope that part of that is to offset some of the spaces that we lost with the skateboard park going in, and also try to keep some vehicles off the streets. But it's not possible to do everything, and if we had enough money, we have no. Mr. Baker and I always joke, if somebody gave us $20 million today, we could have it spent in a week and be looking for another $20 million. And it's not really a joke. It's serious. It's just trying to balance needs and resources. And
So I just want to say thank you, that I have noticed all the work that's been done down in the rink area.
Yeah.
And, you know, a lot hasn't gone into the youth in Kensington, and I certainly see that as a big contribution to that. So I thank you for that.
well, thank you. And we do have a little money set aside at this stage of the game that we are looking to try and put into some park equipment. We're thinking down at behind the current Legion property. There's a park in back there where we have some playground equipment in there, but it's getting a little old and it needs to be replaced, and some additional stuff. There's no shortage of demand. There's no shortage of ideas. Like I say, if we made our list here, $20 million wouldn't go anywhere. Anyway, I won't go on that tirade. Any other questions? Yeah,
A
Mr.
few
Baker?
words, yeah. I just want to make sure everybody clearly understands the process that we're going through here, and I'll talk a little bit about the preservation of green space in the community as well. And so we do have an official planning document that guides development in the town, and it certainly would call for the preservation of green space for the benefit of the community, public green space for the benefit of the community. One of the primary challenges around this particular property is the fact that it's not publicly owned, it's privately owned property. So the town doesn't have a whole lot of control over the ultimate use of that property at the end of the day, other than through our zoning bylaw, which is the process we're going through here today. The mayor was quite correct. We do have, I believe, about $45,000 allocated at this point in time to do some playground upgrades down behind the current Legion property. And we did do a development concept with some preliminary cost estimates a few years ago to develop Centennial Park specifically into some sort of a themed playground. And I believe the themes we had looked at the time were farming and the railway.
Yeah.
And the initial cost estimate came in close to $300,000 for us to be able to develop that property. So whether or not that's something we're able to move forward with at some point, we may be able to. It's just not in our current capital plan. With respect to the traffic issues along School Street, I would agree 100% traffic has increased along School Street and some other streets in town significantly. If council is open to it, we could certainly reach out to the province of Prince Edward Island and see if they would install a traffic counter in that area so we can get a real strong indication of exactly what the level of traffic is along that area. So as far as process is concerned, we talk about driveways, we talk about access, we talk about 13 units, we talk about the possibility for an office space to be included in the building. And so that's a completely separate process from what we're dealing with right now. What we're dealing with right now is whether or not we want to change the land use associated with that property. As far as what type of building is going to be put there, where the access is going to be, how many parking spaces are going to be included, things of that nature, that'll all be done through a separate process. So we have a development permitting process here that the Legion will have to make application to Town Council to be able to construct something on the property. So right now, we're just dealing with the land use only as to whether or not council and residents in the area are okay with the property being converted from its current open space land use designation to a multi-unit residential development designation. And just to go back to the green space discussion for a second, the current proposal from the Legion is that the property would be subdivided. So they would subdivide off a portion that abuts School Street, and they would subdivide off enough to enable them to be able to place a multi-unit building there, and then the remainder of the property where the memorial sits will remain green space. So I don't know if that helps. But
And I think there's a fair amount of space behind the current co-op as well that still is part of the green space as well. So it's not all developed, as Mr. Baker says. And
And there is a third step to the process, which is the actual subdivision of the property. So the first thing that we'll do as a community and council will do is evaluate whether or not this fits with the long-term plans for the community. Is it an appropriate use for that property? If the determination is made by council, and we'll have professional planners review this as well and make sure everything is in compliance with legislation and our bylaw. So if council then determines that yes, it's an appropriate use for the property, we'll go through the process of amending our bylaw to allow the land use designation to change. Following that approval, that's approximately a 4 to 5 month process to enable us to do that. From there, the Legion will have to subdivide the property, so that's another application that needs to come before Town Council, is to formally subdivide the property, and then once those two land-related issues are dealt with, only then will we get into a development permitting process where building plans are provided to us and foundation plans and things of that nature.
yes, so the drawing that you have, Mr. Shaw, is a preliminary plan of what they anticipate going on the property. But, as Mr. Baker says, that's not what we're approving tonight. They could come back and say they only want 10 units or whatever. Maybe they're going to put 3-bedroom units in, but I mean, it's hard to say, but that will be another whole total separate process. But the main thing is that we have to go through each step as needed, and that's the first one. Well, actually, it's actually the second or third, because we've already gone through the first to get to here.
Thank you.
Any other questions? David, did you have anything that you wanted to say before? All right. Well, as Mr. Baker said, the next process will be to receive a report from staff, and this information will also be sent out to our planner, and they will take a look at what feedback we have. Comments that's been received tonight, Mr. Baker will feed that to them, and we'll get a report back. Staff will give us a report. Council will be taking a look at that report, and if it's all done in time, then on September the 11th at our regular council meeting, that will come forward to council for review and potential decision. You will be, if you want to know whether it's coming forward, if you just keep an eye on our website and what our agenda is, it'll on Friday afternoon before September the 11th. That will go out on our website, and everything will be there for you to review. So by all means, you're more than welcome to stay in touch that way. And if there's nothing else, then if that's the case, then I would entertain a motion by council to adjourn the meeting. Oh, pardon me.
The other property. This was made.
No, well, it's the public meeting's on the wall, so there's nobody here to speak on the other one. Is there? I mean, the floor is open. The floor is open for for both of them. We're not picking on one particular one. Then if that's the case, then there's no further business. I would entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting. Council? So moved by Councilor McCrae, seconded by Deputy Mayor Spencer. All those in favor? Motion carried unanimous. Thank you. It is 6:32. Thank you, everyone, for coming out. I think the rain has slowed down a little bit, so you might get home before it gets wet. Huh? Oh no, it's coming down heavy. Sorry. Our council meeting as well if you want to attend the public meet, or the council meeting, you're more than welcome to attend.